This happened to me about 8 months ago, and I still check my locks 3 times before bed. I matched with this girl Emily on Tinder. She was attractive, seemed normal, and after talking for about a week, she suggested we meet up. I usually prefer meeting in public for first dates, but she said she'd been having a rough week and just wanted something low-key. She asked if we could do wine and a movie at my place instead. I should have said no, but I was an idiot, and I said yes. She showed up around 7 p.m. Everything seemed fine at first. We talked, laughed, and she offered to pour us some wine while I set up Netflix. I went to grab glasses from the kitchen, and when I came back, she'd already poured 2 glasses from the bottle she'd brought. That's when I noticed her being weird. She kept pushing the wine toward me, asking why I wasn't drinking. And there was something off about the way she was watching me. Too focused, too eager. I have trust issues. Bad ones. From past relationships, from growing up the way I did, I just don't trust people easily. So when something feels wrong, I notice. I pretended to take a sip, but I didn't actually drink any. I just wet my lips and set the glass down. Emily kept watching me with this strange intensity, like she was waiting for something. About 20 minutes later, she checked her phone and suddenly said she needed to leave. Family emergency. She apologized, seemed rushed, and I walked her to the door. The whole thing felt staged. After she left, I poured both glasses of wine down the sink. I didn't sleep that night. I just kept thinking, what was in that wine? Was she trying to poison me? Drug me? And if she was trying to drug me, why? Around 2 a.m., I heard it. Footsteps. In my living room. Not one person. Multiple people. I could hear them moving through my house, whispering, opening drawers in my kitchen, walking around like they owned the place. At least 3 or 4 different voices. My bedroom is on the 2nd floor. I grabbed my phone and looked at the doorknob. I didn't lock it. I never lock my bedroom door. And now there were strangers in my house. I couldn't fight 3 or 4 people. I couldn't call for help, they'd hear me. And if I stayed in my room, they'd eventually come upstairs. So I opened my window as quietly as possible and jumped. 2nd story, straight down onto the lawn. I heard something crack. When I landed, turned out later I'd fractured my leg and dislocated my shoulder. But I didn't feel it right then. Adrenaline is a hell of a thing. I limped to my neighbor's house and pounded on their door until they woke up. I was crying, hyperventilating, barely able to explain. They called the police while I sat on their porch, shaking and watching my house through the darkness. By the time the cops arrived, Emily and whoever she'd brought with her were gone. They'd taken my laptop, my TV, some cash I kept in a drawer, and a few other valuables. Nothing massive, but enough. The police checked my security camera footage. I have a Ring doorbell, and it caught Emily entering my house earlier that evening. But when she came back at 2 a.m. with 3 other people, the camera had been spray painted over. You could see her doing it on the footage, quick, efficient, like she'd done this before. Her face was partially visible in the earlier footage, but not clear enough for a full ID. I recognized her though. Definitely her. I immediately opened Tinder to show the cops her profile. It was gone. Completely deleted. Her pictures, our messages, everything. Like she'd never existed. The police said this was likely a coordinated robbery. Emily's job was to case the house, drug the target, and come back later with her crew to rob the place while the victim was unconscious. Since I didn't actually drink the wine, I'd ruined their plan, but they came back anyway, assuming I'd be asleep. They never caught her. The case went cold after a few weeks. I moved out of that house 2 months later. I couldn't stay there. Every night I'd hear phantom footsteps, imagine shadows moving past my windows. I got paranoid about dating apps, about bringing anyone to my home, about trusting people at all. My trust issues, they're worse now. And sometimes, late at night, I wonder if I'd actually drunk that wine. Would I have woken up at all? Or would they have done something worse than just rob me? I still don't know. And honestly, I don't want to find out. I met Claire on Bumble about 6 months ago, and what happened still makes me check my windows every night before bed. We've been messaging for almost 2 weeks. The conversation was great, funny, engaging, normal. She seemed sweet, maybe a little shy. When she suggested meeting up at this Italian restaurant in downtown LA, I didn't hesitate. I was actually excited. The night of the date, she texted me she was outside. I walked out to meet her in the parking lot, and when I saw her, I smiled and went in for a hug. She stepped back, held up her hand. I don't hug random people. I laughed it off, thought maybe she was just nervous. First date jitters. I get it. But as we walked inside and sat down, something felt off. Claire was cold, distant. Every question I asked where she grew up, what she did for work, what kind of movies she liked, she answered in short, clipped sentences. And her tone was borderline rude, like I was annoying her just by existing. I kept trying. I thought maybe she'd warm up, maybe I was reading too much into it. But 20 minutes in, I was done. This wasn't nerves. This was hostility. Hey, is everything okay? I finally asked. If you're not feeling this, it's totally fine. We can just call it. She stared at me for a second, then shrugged. I'm fine. But she wasn't fine, and neither was I. I paid the check, we walked out, and I waved goodnight. No hug, no handshake, just an awkward, well, take care. She didn't even respond, just got in her car and left. When I got home, I FaceTimed my boys Daniel and Henry to tell them about the disaster. They were dying laughing, roasting me for getting rejected in real time. Bro, she probably saw your face and wanted to leave, Daniel said, cracking up. Nah, maybe she thought you were catfishing, Henry added. We joked around for like an hour before I finally hung up. It was close to midnight. I brushed my teeth, changed into sweats, and was about to crash when my doorbell rang. 1:30 a.m. I froze. Who the hell shows up at someone's house at 1:30 in the morning? I thought maybe it was Daniel or Henry messing with me. They live close, and they've pulled dumb pranks before. So I walked to the door, didn't even check the peephole, and opened it. It was Claire. Before I could even process it, she shoved me backward into my apartment and came at me with a knife. I saw the blade in her hand, and my brain just stopped. I didn't scream, didn't think. I just reacted. I threw my arm up to block her, and the knife sliced straight through my forearm. Blood sprayed everywhere on the floor, on the wall, on both of us. The pain hit me a second later. Sharp, burning. I stumbled backward and just ran. I didn't think about fighting her. I didn't think about calling for help. I just bolted toward my bedroom and slammed the door, locking it behind me. I was gasping, shaking, clutching my bleeding arm. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I was going to pass out. And then I heard her. She was still in my apartment, walking slowly through my living room. Not running, not panicking, just calm, like she had all the time in the world. Ethan. Her voice was quiet, almost gentle. Open the door. I didn't answer. I grabbed my phone with my good hand and tried to dial 911, but my fingers were slippery with blood and I kept dropping it. My arm was gushing. I wrapped my shirt around it, pressing as hard as I could, trying not to pass out. You're all the same, she said from the other side of the door. You act nice. You smile. You pretend. But you're just like him. I had no idea what she was talking about. I'd never met this girl before tonight. Then I heard her footsteps moving toward my door. Slow, deliberate. I looked around my room, frantic. Window, second floor. If I jumped, I'd probably break something, but it was better than letting her in. But then I heard something else. She was crying. Not loud, just soft, broken sobs on the other side of the door. He said he loved me, she whispered. And then he destroyed me. All of you do. Every single one. That's when I realized she wasn't here for me. I was just another guy, another name, another target in whatever twisted vendetta she was living out. I finally managed to call 911. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely hold the phone, but I got through. I whispered to the operator, told her someone was in my apartment with a knife, gave her my address. Stay on the line, she said. Officers are on the way. I heard sirens in the distance maybe 3 minutes later. And that's when Claire's footsteps moved away from my door. I heard my front door open. Close. She was gone. The cops arrived maybe 30 seconds later. They found blood all over my living room, my front door wide open, and me locked in my bedroom with a gash in my arm that needed 16 stitches. They searched my apartment, checked the parking lot. She was already gone. But here's the part that still messes with me. I never told Claire where I lived. We met at the restaurant. We didn't exchange addresses. I didn't even mention my neighborhood. But somehow, she knew exactly where to find me. The cops pulled up her Bumble profile, or tried to. It was deleted. Completely gone. Just like with the messages. They ran her name, her photos, everything. Nothing came up. No criminal record. No prior incidents. It was like she didn't exist. Then they found something. A week after the attack, detectives came to my place and told me they'd been investigating a string of assaults over the past year. For different men in the LA area all around my age. All met women on dating apps. All attacked in their homes late at night. 2 of them were hospitalized. 1 of them didn't make it. They think it was the same woman. Different names. Different profiles. Same MO. They still haven't caught her. I deleted all my dating apps. I don't go on dates anymore. I installed a full security system, cameras on every door, motion sensors on the windows. And I never open my door without checking first. Because sometimes, late at night, I still hear my doorbell ring. And when I check the camera, there's no one there. The man who followed me home. This happened to me last year in London, and I still can't sleep with my bedroom door unlocked. I matched with this guy Charles on OkCupid. We'd been talking for about a week, and he seemed nice enough, funny, polite, had a decent job. When he suggested meeting up at this restaurant in Shoreditch, I agreed. I was actually looking forward to it. I got there early, maybe 15 minutes before we were supposed to meet. I ordered a drink and sat at a table near the window, scrolling through my phone while I waited. That's when he approached me. Mid-50s, scruffy beard, stained jacket. He walked right up to my table and smiled. This weird, crooked smile that made my skin crawl. Why's a pretty lady like you sitting all alone? I forced a polite smile. I'm waiting for my date, actually. He'll be here soon. He nodded slowly, still staring at me. Lucky guy. Then he walked away. I watched him go sit at the bar, but I could feel him glancing back at me every few seconds. I texted Charles. Hey, you close? Yeah, be there in 10, he replied. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. Then 45. I called him. Where are you? Sorry, traffic's insane. I'm like 5 minutes away, I promise. Another hour went by. Still no Charles. And then the man from the bar came back. He sat down in the chair across from me. Didn't ask. Just sat. Your date's not coming, he said. He's on his way, I said, keeping my voice steady. And I'd appreciate it if you left me alone. He didn't move. Just kept staring at me with this blank, unsettling expression. Like he was looking through me. I said, leave me alone, or I'm calling the police. He finally stood up, but he didn't leave. He just backed away slowly, still watching me, until he disappeared toward the restrooms. That's when I decided I was done. Charles clearly wasn't coming, and this creep was making me genuinely uncomfortable. I threw some cash on the table, grabbed my bag, and walked out. I got in my car, locked the doors immediately, and just sat there for a second, trying to calm down. My hands were shaking. I checked my mirrors. Didn't see anyone. I pulled out of the parking lot and drove home. When I got back to my flat, I texted my friends in our group chat. Told them the whole story. The guy who stood me up, the creep at the restaurant. They were furious on my behalf. Never go to the date spot first again, my friend Jade said. Always make them get there before you. I swore I wouldn't make that mistake again. I brushed my teeth, changed into pajamas, and got into bed. I was exhausted, emotionally drained. I just wanted to forget the whole night. I fell asleep around midnight, and then I woke up to someone touching me. I opened my eyes, and he was there, the man from the restaurant, standing over my bed, his hand on my arm. I screamed. He clamped his other hand over my mouth, trying to muffle me, but I bit down hard and kept screaming. I thrashed, kicking at him, trying to get away, but he was strong. He grabbed my wrists and pinned them down, and I could smell him sweat and something sour, like he hadn't showered in days. Stop fighting, he whispered. His breath was hot against my face. Just stop. I heard footsteps pounding down the hallway. My door flew open. My dad burst in first, then my older brother right behind him. My dad grabbed me, yanking me off the bed and pulling me toward the doorway. My brother didn't hesitate. He launched himself at the guy, tackling him to the floor. They struggled. The man was thrashing, trying to fight back, but my brother is 6'3" and used to play rugby. He managed to pin him down, pressing his knee into the guy's back, while my mom called 999. I was sobbing, shaking, clinging to my dad in the hallway. My little sister was crying too, watching from her bedroom doorway. Everything felt surreal, like a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. The police arrived maybe 10 minutes later. They cuffed him, dragged him out of our house, and took him to the station. And that's when things got even worse. The police came back the next day to update us. They told us the man's name, I'm not going to say it here, and that he had a history. A long history. He'd been institutionalized twice for schizophrenia. He'd been reported multiple times for stalking, harassing women in public, following them. But he'd never been charged with anything serious. He'd always slipped through the cracks. They said he likely followed me from the restaurant, watched me get into my car, followed me all the way home, and then somehow he found a way inside. We checked our doors and windows. Everything had been locked. Everything. But our back door, the one that leads to the garden, had scratches around the lock. He'd picked it, or forced it. We still don't know. The police arrested him, but because of his mental health status, he wasn't charged with attempted rape. They sectioned him, sent him to a psychiatric facility. But here's the thing that keeps me up at night. They said he'd been released from a facility just 3 weeks before he showed up at that restaurant. And when the police searched his flat, they found a notebook, pages and pages of names, addresses, and photos. Women he'd followed, women he'd watched. My name was in there. My address was in there. And I wasn't the first. They found 4 other women in that notebook. Women he'd stalked over the past 2 years. 2 of them had reported him. The others didn't even know. One of them had moved cities to get away from him. The police told me he'll likely be held for a while, but not forever. Eventually, he'll be released again. And when he is, there's nothing stopping him from coming back. I don't live in that flat anymore. My family moved 2 months later. We didn't tell anyone our new address. I deleted all my social media. I don't use dating apps anymore. I don't go anywhere alone at night. And I never sleep without my door locked. Because I know he's still out there. And I know he remembers me. This happened 3 years ago, and I still get anxiety every time I see a black sedan parked on my street. I met Marcus on Hinge. He wasn't my usual type. Older, maybe late 30s, worked in finance, very polished. But his profile was impressive. Well-traveled, well-read, seemed mature and stable. After my last few dating disasters with guys my age, I thought maybe I needed someone more established. We texted for about 2 weeks. He was articulate, asked thoughtful questions, never pushed for anything physical. When he suggested dinner at this upscale French place in Manhattan, I was impressed. Most guys I'd met wanted to grab drinks at some dive bar. The date itself was perfect. Too perfect, actually. He showed up in a tailored suit, brought me flowers, pulled out my chair, ordered wine without looking at the prices, talked about his work, his travels, asked about my career goals. He was attentive, funny, charming. I remember thinking, where have you been all my life? We talked for almost 3 hours. When the check came, he insisted on paying. Walked me to my Uber, kissed my hand, like something out of an old movie. I had a wonderful time, he said. I'd love to see you again. I was floating. I texted my best friend Sarah the moment I got in the car. I think I just met my future husband. We went on a second date 4 days later. Then a third. Then a fourth. Every time, he was the perfect gentleman. Flowers. Compliments. Doors held open. He never tried to come up to my apartment. Never pushed for sex. Never made me uncomfortable. After 6 weeks of dating, I invited him up to my place for the first time. We had wine, watched a movie, and things got intimate. Nothing crazy. Just kissing, touching. But when I suggested we move to the bedroom, he stopped. I want to wait. he said, stroking my hair. I wanted to be special. You're special. I melted. I actually melted. What kind of man says that in 2025? 2 months into dating, he asked me to be his girlfriend. I said yes immediately. That's when things started to change. It was subtle at first. He'd ask where I was going when I left work, who I was with, what time I'd be home. I thought it was sweet. He cared about me, wanted to make sure I was safe. Then he started commenting on my clothes. That skirt's a little short, don't you think? Maybe wear something less revealing next time. I laughed it off. Didn't think much of it. Then he asked me to share my location with him on Find My Friends. Just so I know you're safe, he said. Especially when you're out at night. I hesitated, but he seemed so genuine, so concerned. I shared it. That's when I started noticing the car. A black sedan, tinted windows. It was parked outside my apartment one evening when I came home from drinks with Sarah. I didn't think anything of it at first. New York is full of black sedans. But then I saw it again the next day. Same car, same spot. And again 2 days later, outside my office building at lunchtime. I texted Marcus. Hey, weird question, but do you drive a black sedan? No, why? Just thought I saw a car that looked like yours. I drive a BMW. Silver. You okay? I convinced myself I was being paranoid. But then Sarah called me, freaked out. Who the fuck is Marcus? She asked. What do you mean? Some guy just came up to me at Starbucks and told me to stop being a bad influence on you. Said his name was Marcus and that he's your boyfriend. He knew my name, and he knew we got drinks on Tuesday. How the hell does he know that? My blood went cold. I confronted Marcus that night. He came over, and I asked him point blank if he'd approached Sarah. He didn't deny it. I was protecting you, he said calmly. She's not good for you. She drinks too much. She encourages you to dress like that. I'm just looking out for you. You had no right to talk to my friend. I have every right. I'm your boyfriend. It's my job to keep you safe. The way he said it, so matter of fact, so entitled, made my skin crawl. I told him to leave. He didn't argue, just kissed my forehead and left quietly. I broke up with him over text the next day. Told him it wasn't working out, that I needed space. He didn't respond. For 3 days, nothing. No calls, no texts. I thought maybe he'd accepted it and moved on. Then I came home from work and found him sitting on my couch. Inside my apartment. I froze in the doorway. How did you get in here? He smiled. Held up a key. You gave me one, remember? I never gave him a key. I'd never even mentioned giving him a key. Marcus, you need to leave. Right now. We need to talk, he said calmly. You're making a mistake. Get out, or I'm calling the police. He stood up slowly, walked toward me. I backed into the hallway, my hand on my phone. You don't understand, he said. I've invested so much in you. Time, money, energy. You don't just get to throw that away. I'm calling the cops. Go ahead, he said, and I'll tell them you invited me here. That you're unstable. That you've been lying to your friends about me. He stepped closer. I could smell his cologne, the same one I used to love. I know where you work, he continued. I know where your parents live. I know Sarah's address. I know everything about you. That's when I ran. I bolted down the stairs, out of my building, and didn't stop until I reached a bodega 3 blocks away. The owner saw me crying and let me stay inside while I called 911. The police came. They went to my apartment. Marcus was gone. They found the key he'd used. It was a copy of my building's master key. He must have stolen it from the landlord's office or bribed someone. They dusted for prints, took a statement, but said unless he'd actually hurt me, there wasn't much they could do. They could file a report, maybe get a restraining order. But that was it. I stayed with Sarah for 2 weeks, changed my locks, filed for the restraining order, and then I got a package. No return address, just a box left outside Sarah's apartment. Inside were dozens of photos of me, walking to work, getting coffee, at the gym, sitting in my apartment through my window. Some of them were from before we even started dating. There was a note. You were always mine. You just didn't know it yet. The police investigated, but they couldn't prove it was him. No fingerprints, no DNA, no cameras caught him delivering it. I moved across the country 6 months later. New city, new job, new phone number. Deleted all my social media. I haven't heard from Marcus since. But sometimes, I'll be walking down the street and I'll see a black sedan parked nearby. And my heart stops. I'll freeze, waiting to see if it follows me. It never does. But I know he's still out there. And I know he's still watching.